Here we go again. Do you guys remember the old Keenan and Kel? I think it was Keenan and Kel back on Nickelodeon when they used to say, "Here we go again," or "Here we go again." Guys, like I talked about this yesterday. Devin Bush, uh, it was an experiment. Devin Bush is the experiment over for the Pittsburgh Steelers? And then I wake up today and I make this cheesy, uh, big, massive eyes thumbnail. And Devin Bush says this, I quote, from a recent Pittsburgh Steelers, interview at training camp. Like, as a Steeler, I mean, it's a business. I'll still be in the NFL, so we'll see. Now, this is in reference, right? This is in reference to, I believe a reporter asked Devin Bush a question saying, about his, future as a Steeler or the fifth term option. They didn't pick up the fifth year option. What's going to happen next year? Will you go out and, I guess, play your hardest to be a Steeler? Will you go out there and, pretty much give it your all to be a Pittsburgh Steeler in the chance that the Steelers will pick up, sign him a contract in the offseason? Devin Bush is going to his last year as a Steeler, and his response was pretty much that, right? His response to the question, Devin Bush was asked if he feels like this will be his last year to hang around with the Steelers beyond this year. And that's what he said. I mean, I'm still going to be in the NFL, so we'll see. Now, look, I've got two views on this, two opinions, and let me know what you think. First of all, I don't know if the coaches really care. If that makes sense. If Devin Bush says this way, because in reality, it is a business. The NFL is a business. Although you're not showing your true Pittsburgh black and gold colors, it's a business. Do the coaches think this? Like, as long as Devin Bush is performing on the field, and that's a big question right now, right? I understand that. It's a big question. As long as Devin Bush is performing on the field, doesn't matter what he says off the field. Mike Tomlin dealt with the AB antics throughout his whole career, right? And he was still a great player on the field. But right now, Devin Bush isn't really performing on the field, getting lost in routes. Doesn't look like he wants to be out there. He's not tackling. He's coming back from the injury. But even then, I've heard other reports and other comments on YouTube and Twitter saying, well, other players come back from injury like George Pickens, and that's okay. So is it really the injury as an excuse? I don't think so. But right now, Devin Bush is saying, well, it does. Look, I'll take the eyes away. I'll take the eyes away and look at the man that is Devin Bush. He does look pretty deflated, in my opinion. If you go and watch that interview, you can find it anywhere you want. I'm probably the last guy to talk about it, right? You go and find the interview. Devin Bush looks deflated. He's got his head down. He doesn't care. He just seems like he doesn't want to be there at all. If I was talking to you like this and saying, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go and win, they're going to win the AFC North this year, you would be thinking, why is that guy looking down at his keyboard the whole time? That to me was the interview with Devin Bush. He seems disengaged. He doesn't want to be there at all. Uninterested. Doesn't seem too switched on to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. And that's my second point, coming to the fan. As a fan perspective, we want these players to go out there and think about the Pittsburgh Steelers 24/7, no matter what. But his answer, he probably could have said his answer in a different way. What are your thoughts on, remaining a Steeler next year, beyond this year? And he said, I'm still going to be in the NFL, so we'll see. Which is like a really cheap ego shot. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to be here. I don't care where I play. That's what it really is. And as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you're like, bro, we pay all the money for the jerseys. We support you. We go to the games and pay money. We pay the high price beer costs. We pay the big hamburgers. We buy the terrible towels. We buy into the organization. We pretty much, as fans, we buy into the organization. And then you say something like that, it gives you a bad representation of our team, our city, and I don't even live there, Pittsburgh, right? When you say it like that, I mean, I'm going to be in the NFL regardless. I'm still going to be there, so we'll see what happens. It's just not a good look for Devin Bush because he's struggling on the field since last year. He's struggling this year in training camp. He's struggling in preseason games, made 0 tackles, 0 effort. Nothing happened. Uh, doesn't look good for the pedigree of him being a top 10 pick that we traded up for to get in the first round. And now it's your last year in Pittsburgh. It doesn't look good for Devin Bush. I'll tell you that much. It really doesn't. And all of Twitter is going crazy about it. And it's justified. I agree with it. However, here's my last thought on Devin Bush right now. If he goes out there next week and versus the Jacksonville Jaguars and goes off, like I'm talking goes off and has some good play, good tackles, then yeah, let's see what can happen. But right now, he's not doing himself any favors. He's digging himself a ditch further and further down. You know, if you've ever seen that Simpsons episode where, you know, Bart gets stuck in a well and he falls down there and the fellas have to dig themselves out. And then one of the Simpsons characters yells out, you know, you're doing it wrong. Dig up, stupid. That's what it feels like. It feels like Devin Bush is digging himself a bigger hole than he needs to happen. He's taking no pride in the jersey from an outside looking in as a fan perspective, and just not saying the right things. And I guess in the media world, you need to say some right things sometimes. You need to say them, even if you don't really mean it. Just say it the right way, so you don't get the constant fire on your back. And that's what happened with Devin Bush so far. So that is the Devin Bush update. I wish him well in the upcoming game with the Jaguars when we go to Jacksonville. If he can play a quarter, let's get a tackle, let's get a fumble. Let's see you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. That's what I want to see. That's one of my key takeaways is, does Devin Bush want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler? Anyways, guys, thank you for checking out Steelers Nation Australia. And I promise I won't talk like this. I'll be more engaged. And I'll be, try and be more engaged in the Steelers community. All right, as always, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.